Welcome to Truth Talks with Trinice at the Virgo Lounge. And today we're talking about what women wish men understood about women and vice versa. I am so excited for this conversation, and we are going to introduce our guests. We'll start with Miss.
My name is Ruth.
Hi.
Welcome to the Virgo Lounge, Ruth.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm elated and I'm honored to be a part of this podcast today. Thank you.
All right. Well, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, to be very specific, I am a mother of 3. I am a business owner, CEO of IFNS Beauty. So I'm a full licensed esthetician. And I offer services like facials, eyelash extensions, eyebrow tattoo, like permanent makeup. And then I'm a mother of 3. I have a 12-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So I'm definitely super busy, but I am excited because I get to do what I love every day.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. I love you. You are my girl. Thank you for being here today. And to my right, I have
Jared, Jamaican.
all right, Jared the Jamaican. Hey. Blah. Hey.
Right. Thank you for having me today, Trinice.
Yes.
It's an honor to be here.
All right.
Support you.
Thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
Yes. And last but not least, we have...
Hello, my name is Julius. Pleasure to be here as well. When you invited me, I had to pop out. So, how y'all doing today?
All right, you're going to pop out and show them.
Of course.
Yes. Thank you, Juju on the beat today. Hey. All right. So I told you guys about the topic, what women wish men understood about women and what men wish women understood about men. That is the topic today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to let ladies go first. And I'm going to start with this question, Ms. Ruth. What is the one thing about the opposite sex that confuses you the most?
I just don't understand why they can't multitask. Like it just drives me crazy because I mean by default I have 8 arms because I have 3 kids.
For
so,
sure.
You know, sometimes I have to take a phone call or like make a doctor's appointment while I'm like changing a diaper, and then there's like food on the stove. So it's like all these things are simultaneously happening and anything could throw off my focus. So that's for sure. Like, oh my gosh, for sure. But it's like with men, I've noticed it's like they just get overwhelmed just so quickly. Absolutely. And I give grace. You know, I'm not just out here bashing men. Like, you're so, you know, like I'm not like, you know, bashing them.
Right.
But why you can't do 20 million things like me?
Right. Because I don't, you know, believe that that's helpful either. But it does make me think like there must be something genetically just wired differently where you guys can't do all these things. So then you just rely on your girlfriend or your mom. Like men are so used to seeing their moms do all these things and then y'all just sitting on the couch.
I mean, personally, I try to push myself, you know, and try to be like that, multitask and, you know, be independent of you. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I love to see my mom do stuff for me and just sit on the couch too.
If you're someone that you struggle with laziness and procrastination, having that mindset is not something that they're like, oh, let me just tap into it.
Right. Of
course.
So then if you're like, just...
Because you're going to limit yourself. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, it's fine. You're going to limit yourself. So it's like, you're not even going to like want to tap into that, or you'll just see social media. You'll see people like doing all these things. And it's just like you're window shopping, but you don't have what it takes to get that. You can't afford to tap into success because something in your mind is blocking you.
Right.
And that just gets into like mental health and like spirituality. And that's just like could branch off into, that could branch into And it just always feels like it's a deeper meaning why these men can't do it.
Got it.
For me, Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
what I wish women understood about men is
Mm-hmm.
that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Wait, no, what confuses...
What confuses
Men about the other sex. So about the other sex.
yeah, woman emotions, man. Yeah, man.
The emotion.
Yeah, man, the emotions. And wake up one when everything good and all of a sudden those turn upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, you know, that confuse us, man. You wouldn't agree, Julius?
I 1,000% agree.
Yeah, so that confuses us more. Why we say, oh, is she thinking this? What's going on? And, you know, but you go back to even communication and everything else.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And I find that a lot of people don't express themselves. Like someone, like a woman can be feeling some type of way. Maybe you did something to her, but she kept it inside and then marinated it on it overnight. And then she woke up with an attitude because, you know, she came to a conclusion overnight that what you did wasn't right.
Sleep both the whole night.
Have dreams about it.
Dream about it.
It does take a wise woman to be able to separate the feelings that are from her gut and the feelings that like are from her heart, maybe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in a relationship, you are supposed to be with a woman that is mature. If like when you get in a relationship, y'all supposed to be mature. Do we do that? No. We all been probably talking and dating people since we like 15, 16, 17 and like whatever the case is. But like you have to be able to know your woman so that you can anticipate her needs. So maybe if she starts to feel down, you can create an environment for her to feel safe so then she can open up to you.
And comfortable.
Right. Because that's the thing where I feel like a lot of men lack. They don't know. Men don't know how to always create a safe emotional environment for their wife or their girlfriend. And that's a part of the problem because if a woman doesn't feel safe expressing herself, she's going to keep bottling it up.
My late pastor, God bless his soul, he used to always say, pay attention to what your partner complains about the most. That is, and that is what you hone in on. You know, if they say, oh, you never spend a lot of time with me, that is what she wants. That's her love language. Right. Whatever they complain about the most, that is their love language.
Find
that's
a solution to it.
Yeah, that's how you can figure out their love language. But so many guys, they're caught up into their pride and their ego. Oh, you know, like, and they'll take it in a defense, like as an attack, like you're telling, like they're doing something wrong. You know, and that's another problem because I should feel comfortable coming to you and saying, you know, you said this and it made me feel this way without it being like an attack, you know? So a lot of guys are on that too.
But you know, Chinese, a lot of men don't express themselves and that. I think that's just natural as a man.
Yes.
But why is that?
I don't know.
What is the
men are
problem?
practical. We're practical. We're 1 + 1 = 2. And where women are very indecisive, which is what I don't understand about women, right? Your emotions, all of these things, you're juggling all of these things, your intuition, whatever it may be. I think that what throws me off the most is the indecisiveness of women. You know,
or the indecisiveness?
Yeah, indecisive. So you want me to be able to understand that right now you want more time, but then 3 weeks later it might be something else.
Then it's gonna be like, where that money at?
What do I do next? Like, okay,
it depends though, because some women laid out on the table and said, "Listen, this is this and that is that."
Yeah,
so yeah. Some women are indecisive. That's from my
some women are direct.
They're just direct and just tell you what it is. And this is what I expect and this is what I want.
I feel like I'm very direct, but I might have a lot of expectations. A lot.
That's the minority. That's the minority.
I'm very indecisive. So I'm the general population.
Yeah.
Like I can literally say no, I don't want this, and then in 5 minutes be like, okay, wait, no, I want that.
Exactly.
Like, it's really bad. Or it's like if you give me too many options, I'm like, oh my God. I am overloaded. No and so, doubt. I mean, now that I've gotten older, I realize, like, you know, when you ask someone for advice and you're like, should I do this one or that one? And then they choose something, you're like, I mean, I don't want that.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like that kind of helps you. Mm-hmm. But I think because of how we are wired, like, we have to be wired this way because we give birth to children. And when you give birth to a child, you have to be able to set your thoughts aside, and like your body literally like wires it to the baby to the point where like your milk is producing because the baby is hungry. The baby, you can hear the baby cry across the room, and then like now your boobs are just like pulsating with milk because like it responds to the baby. So it just like on a smaller example, I feel like that's why we're so like we're just so intricately wired, because we have to balance these things for survival. So now it comes to the point of where there's some women that are not emotional. There's some women that don't like to be cuddled. There's some women that don't like to be coddled. So like that's different too. But
naturally though, I don't think that's
there are some. Well,
I don't think so.
Like maybe it was like situationally based on trauma,
the experience.
Anytime it's like that, I think a woman naturally wants to be a woman. They want to have security. They want to have somebody to depend on. They want to have all of these things. So
you think so?
Man, I know so.
Along with trauma, it just depends, like how you were raised.
That's true.
I think that plays a big factor too.
If we're just looking at like the basic model of like men and women, women want to be emotional, but they want to be emotional in a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And then men are practical, but we need that. We need that practicality.
We need balance.
That balance is there.
Yeah.
So then it comes together in unison when there's maturity, and when there's a lack of maturity and healing and wisdom.
There you go.
Because it's like, yeah, you could be an adult, you're paying all your bills, you're responsible, but like you still have that little boy inside of you that's hurt.
You're still a child.
Right. Or like maybe your mom was never there, so now you're taking it out on your girlfriend, or like all that stuff be playing a part into all this.
1,000%.
What is wrong with men in therapy?
If you know what you're repeating, if you know what you're giving off.
But do you feel like everyone knows?
That's why I say I don't think everyone needs
like I just feel like people have a delusional idea of who they really are. Like,
yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's delusion. Like I see you from on the outside looking in. You see yourself from the inside looking out. Like, oh, I'm not like this. Like I actually have seen person look in the mirror and say, "I'm my own therapist. I don't need a therapy. I am my own therapist."
That's
and
delusion.
I'm like,
if you're ever a person where you're like, I don't need something, that's already a problem. Because we all you could never stop learning.
I don't need.
Period.
I don't need anything toxic. I don't need bad things. You feel me?
True.
I don't feel like there's always a concept of like, oh, if you don't need it, then it's something wrong with you. Nah, you like people understand themselves more than anybody else do. You feel me? So sometimes you do have that direction of, as far as where you want to go, what you need, and I think a strong man understands that as well. Like a weak man, probably he'll be oblivious to the fact, and he'll be delusional. But I mean, if you're a strong man and you want better, you want purpose, then I feel like that stuff, happens naturally.
That I agree with.
A lot of men reflect and know what they did wrong and still do it again.
Child.
But let's just say religious men and not religious men, where I feel like religious men have more of that grounding, where they have that humility, they have a more sense of purpose. There's even been like studies that show that people that are religious end up having like a better life in general because they have something to look forward to.
Really?
And generally. Mm-hmm. So now versus someone that's just out here just trying to get it out the mud. And then I think for people that don't have like some sort of faith foundation, it's harder for them. They feel more hopeless, and they feel more, they're more likely to have like diseases, like heart diseases, depression, health issues and stuff like that, because they're not able to find a solution to things and they lack that purpose. So I think that with what you're saying really just hits it spot on, where a man, not every man needs therapy if we're talking about the men that have a purpose. Because when you have a purpose, you're willing to do everything you need to do for that purpose. But then when you don't have a purpose, that's when you're just like, you're living off of your ego and your pride. And that's not something that is going to help you get anywhere. You're just going to probably destroy relationships, have a lot of arrogance, like all of those negative things, blah, 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 blah. Right. So all right, I'll ease up off that. Maybe just the men that don't have direction and purpose, and just maybe they were stunted at a young age when it came to their emotions. Maybe they didn't have a safe space, you know, and especially we know in America, the whole family system, especially in the Black community, has been torn down as a whole. But then we actually have evidence of like the Black family being like targeted, and like Black men being targeted and incarcerated and all those things. Absolutely. So it's like when that's the majority of Black men, and
then you have this little bit amount left,
right? A little bit amount,
good,
right? They're probably married, or they're like under a rock somewhere, just trying to find God, or you know. But then the rest of them that are out here just slanging and just doing all sorts of inappropriate things, or whatever the case is, just having babies on babies on babies, infidelity, you know, all this stuff. It's like those are the ones that are a lot of us are having the experience with, and that's kind of where our purview is coming from, like those men, those toxic men and women.
I mean, when you look at the men in the whole, it's like, as a whole, it's like that's what we see. Half of them are not in the household. Some of them are in jail. You know, some of them are not acting like men. Period. Some of them are under their moms. Some of them is like, it's very minute. The ones that, you know.
Going back to what you said as well, I think a lot of men find the purpose at 18, 16. A lot of men don't find the purpose in life at all. Go through life and don't know what the purpose is. A lot of them find it late as well.
50.
At 50.
Okay, you got a guy that worked, you know, went to college, you know, then he finally getting his career off the ground, and now he's 35. And the women that are 35 with him, maybe they've had their children already, or maybe they're, you know, they already been married and they can't have kids anymore. Yeah. But now he's ready to start his life. I understand for that purpose, but, you know, I don't understand when it has to be a 19 or 20-year-old or 21-year-old. That part I don't understand. I was married at 19, but when I was that age, age it really wasn't a factor that much. But if he was too old, I'd be like, you know, I do see something wrong. It's like when you start hitting my dad age, then now I'm putting my dad in my, you know, like, oh, he's like my dad, you know, like that. And then so now that I'm older, he's my son age. Like, you know, I can't talk to you my son age, or you know, or you're around my son's age. No, you know. So that's how I see things, you know. So why don't men see it that way? Like, they can have a 20-year-old daughter, but they'll talk to somebody that's 19. But why a lot of men don't see it that same way?
It's not like they're like courting each other and they're being all sweet and innocent. Like, no, they're doing grown things.
But then who is the one that's supposed to be the mature one that's supposed to know what to do, not the 19, 20-year-old?
Going back to what I said, it depends what he's been through. That's what I think. You know, it depends what he's been through and what he doesn't want, you know, at such an age to know that, all right. But for the majority of part, for me, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay, but I know somebody, without like putting them out there because I know them, but I know somebody that like after their first 2 failed marriages and they were like well over 50 or 60, somehow crossed lines with somebody in the islands, and they became like phone buddies, like, you know, whatever, not pen pals, but, you know, like that. Yeah. And they fell in love with each other's voice, allegedly. And then, the voice at first, and they kept talking and talking and talking. And then no, this is before WhatsApp and all that stuff. And then they eventually ended up getting married, and she was like maybe 20 or 21 when she got married. Now, in my perspective, in my American, like, you know, whatever, like, she was in a situation where she wanted to get her status, and then he was in a position to help her, and then he helped her entire family. So, hey, I don't know about y'all, but I've been offered to do that plenty of times. I ain't take up on it, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I'm just saying, like, you know, it seemed like it was an opportunity for her, and then it was an opportunity for him because he was lonely and he didn't want to die, like, alone. So it's like if anything, it's like a business transaction. And he eventually, like, they had 2 kids together, and he brought her to America, and she was miserable. And she gave him her 20s. And then by the time she was like 31, 32, she dipped. And she didn't look back, and she abandoned her kids. And now years pass by, everyone's cool again, everything's back at peace, she's okay. But like that's like such a layered situation, right? Like there's so many things like to dissect from that. But like primarily it's like he was up in age and she was very young, and she's probably like, okay, this looks crazy, but there's an opportunity for me to have a better life in America. Meanwhile, we're here in America, we trying to dip up out of here.
Exactly. That's what she did throughout her 20s.
Yeah. Once she came to America, had the 2 kids, and then that's a whole nother thing, because it's like when you're living here in America, you are programmed to work, 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 work. You have a little bit of time at the end of the day to spend it with your kids, to cook, go to sleep, and then go back, and then you have 2 days for yourself on the weekend.
If that one.
Right. She came from the islands where everything is,
every day,
she's making food from scratch. Everything's nice and slow and chill. She's surrounded by her family and love. So I think that played a part too, because she was sold this dream of America when the dream is freedom.
Yeah, of course.
Not America is freedom. No, the dream is freedom, period. Make food off of the land. Have your kids with you. You teach your kids the right thing. You have God in the mix. That's the true freedom.
See, a lot of people, especially in the island, they don't know what it really is over here. All they see is the fluff and the media. And you can talk about this because, a lot of Jamaicans swear it's just like one girl said, "Oh, I'm gonna come over there and go meet Nicki Minaj."
Oh,
and
wow.
they just think. And who wants to meet her right now anyway? Because
girl.
Anyway, girl. And so they feel like it's what it's not.
What it's not.
So maybe it was a mixture of all that together. You come over here, I thought I was gonna be, I thought I was coming to something good, but then at the same time, this guy, but off your own thoughts about what America is. But then at the same time, if this guy did all this stuff for you, like how can you even dare?
Right, because it's like, here is a better life. I'm doing all this for you. I love you. I care about you, XYZ. But I think that's why it's so important to have your foundation, because whether you're young or old, your foundation, you can have your personal relationship with God, and he can tell you and he can guide you. But when you're just going off of what you want to do, no one can tell you anything.
There are certain things that you cannot do and feel okay with. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible tells us that if you return evil for good, somebody done did you so good, and you return that for evil, evil shall come into your house and not leave. So what is her life like now?
She's living a much more free life. But with that comes its price, because you are
she left the kids.
Right. So there was
kind of relationship,
a separation with that, and then now the kids were with the dad, and like he's up in age, and like there was a lot of issues with that and stuff like that. So it is where I think that's hard for women, where men.
They could do that real easy.
Men, y'all just, I gotta go. They go get the milk, they don't come back, and it is what it is. Not when we all know all men are not on this. We're like, I'm not generalizing.
Not all men.
Yes,
but
no. The bad men that do that, there's a large amount of them, and they do that, But I actually just heard something today that it's like, God don't bless y'all deadbeats. Like, right. All the deadbeat dads, they think they're getting away with it, and they're, I'm gonna go work, or they try and like tell the system when they're on child support, they'll be like, I only make $1 a year, like whatever. Like they try and like buck the system, but God sees all that. So then that's why they can't ever keep a job. That's why they can't ever keep a home, or they don't ever keep peace, or that's why they don't ever keep a good relationship. Like all that stuff comes to them, and it's not until years later they're like, wait, why is this cycle continuing? So I do think that it's difficult for women where when a woman does that, it's like, oh my gosh, like everyone shuns them. But it's like, I'm not encouraging the selfishness. I'm not. But I just wish that there was a better way where she could have balanced being with her kids, having a time to herself, and to not abandon herself, but then having a time to return to her kids so then everything could come together the right way. But because it didn't, the kids are suffering, and now they're up in age, and they lack a lot of stability and lack a lot of consistency.
Like over here just to get wild.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, that's just what it looked like because you done left your kids. When a woman does that, it's like,
really?
When you hear about a man doing it, it's like, oh, okay, just another one.
Because it's expected.
Yeah. Not really expected, but it's
almost normalized.
Yeah.
Normalized.
Yes.
And accepted.
Yes.
It's accepted.
Yes.
Yes. I know I have so many, and you know what makes me so sad about that? I have multiple homegirls that like one of them, like an angel, bro. Like she was a good girl, and she fell in love with this bad boy. And the first time she had relations with him, she got pregnant. He was lying about his ex, and they already had 2 kids. She's had to raise that her daughter by herself her entire life. But she still has her family, her support system. She has stability. She's had a consistent job. She was able to be a homeowner. So she's provided the life for her daughter that she wanted to, and that she wanted to, that it really seemed like the dad could have never done that. And it makes me sad because it's like, wow, like so many women have to like step up to the plate, but it ends up kind of just being a lot better for the child anyways.
I wanna hold it right there for a minute, and we gonna take a little break, and then we gonna come back and we gonna start right there. Why good girls like bad boys? Why? That's what we gonna talk about.